والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، يقول الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dear believers, we welcome you. This is the 2nd of January 2022. It's our first program. We're going to have a monthly series of programs for the rest of this year at least. The programs will go in segments, which I'll mention in a few minutes. They'll have a certain tone and flavor now, and this would be pre-Ramadan. During this period, we're getting around, so we have, for the last 10 years, or 15 years, had decided to focus on D.C., Baltimore, and Richmond, Virginia. So we're going to take that whole area, and this is a wonderful period because this is a period of revival and rejuvenation after a nice rest. Now, people that haven't had runs before don't necessarily understand how to manage themselves in their life. They run straight ahead and keep running. They want to be a star, they keep doing star. And they never take a breather. I noticed in the movement, this has been for over 50 years, that it was maybe a natural gift that I would take a breather and look around at where I'm at. I would do it automatically. The first big one was probably 67. But when we came out in 68, we started the East Oakland Enterprises, and within a year's time, we was buying people Cadillacs and everything else. You know, I mean, Brohams, not them little old T9 chick, whatever they used to call them. And the people said, man, this Negro is crazy. But to give you an idea about understanding your environment is, number one, in those days, up and down Benning Road and everywhere else, everybody talked about things in their community. See, we wasn't on the news and the Washington Post and all that. We had our own network. And everybody talked about the neighborhood. Now, we had Jet, we had Ebony, we had Sepia, we had a few more. They was just beginning Black Network News, and each city had their little black radio station type thing. So we focused on our community mostly. It was a black newspaper or two or three in every region. And that's where we got our information. The other thing was, if Martin Luther King in 1968, the same time we started East Oakland Enterprises in Oakland, 1968, he went to Chicago. The idea was to start a black economic enterprise zone. Does anybody remember that? That was the reason he went there, because he was saying we have to move up from just demonstrating and marching. And they had demonstration down there in 67, and that was called the Poor People's March, something like that, yeah. So it was focusing, he was focusing not only voting and demonstrating, but he was focusing on some of the real issues. Now in Oakland, If you would call out there now, it ain't too many Negroes left in Oakland. They done moved outside of town. And if you look at Oakland on the news, you will just almost want to drop dead. I mean, when I left there two years ago, it was pitiful. But when I talk to people in Oakland now, it's pitiful plus. Have anybody seen any of those videos on Oakland and LA? Man, that's the Sunshine State. Everybody moved out there. That was semi-heaven. Man, that was it. Not today. So, East Oakland Enterprises was, we had several businesses. I had several myself. And what East Oakland Enterprises was, everybody in it was young because old people didn't think like that. But it was a little bit we had picked up from the Lamb, a little bit we had picked up from black nationalism and what have you. And it was that black people should control everything that comes and goes out of their community. They should be managers of their own environment. Therefore, we had to advertise that program. Now, in Jahiliyyah, in those days in the dunya, a Cadillac that was over 2 years old was called a legend. That means it was old. You know why it was called a legend? Because that people have talked about it so much that it's now a legend. You know, that's what it meant. We call Cadillacs over 2 years old legends. That means that it was so old. I mean, it had been talked about so much. So now, if you want to advertise for East Oakland Enterprises, black people can do for themselves. Black people need to organize. Do you go downtown and do you buy a spot in the Oakland Tribune? Or do you buy several niggas' Cadillacs? What the people gonna do? Every time you turn the corner, you gotta remember how people treated Cadillacs in those days. Man, I just saw so-and-so. First of all, it wasn't that many in the neighborhood because we were still just getting out of the country. So, now imagine the free advertisement you get. You buy somebody one brand new Broham, like your second in charge, and your third in charge, and a few more. And you helping people buy homes, and you doing the Godfather stuff, except you're not mean. See, one thing about our stuff in Oakland, I was talking to one of my friends that just passed away. He was with us. I said, you know what? We never even beat nobody up in those days. Can you imagine with what we was doing? It was so smooth. You know what I mean? That, it was unbelievable. Plus, everybody was getting rich. Everybody was getting money. Why was everybody getting turned on? It was not free advertisement. If you buy a Broham for somebody, and it don't cost in those days, it costs $10,000 for a new ham. And you get $200,000 worth of free publicity. Do you know every time they drive down the street, man, I just saw big so-and-so, he turned the corner, he had that tutu with him, and they was leaning, right? That's all they talked about. All day long, right? So it wasn't dumb at all. It was the smartest thing you can do. If you want to push black nationalism, if you want to push independence, right? If you want to push that you can survive, you can make it, right? Then you take that what you got, and all the other big Negroes kept everything they got for them and their little self, and they've all been broke decades ago. Them niggas is broke. Well, it was the pipe killed them, in '75. The base pipe, it knocked them off, slid them off the hill. But it was free advertisement. It wasn't free. If you would have paid for that advertisement on the radio, you'd have paid $1 million for it. We got it. If you buy 5 Cadillacs for somebody, you just $50,000. Not them little old Coupe de Ville, no sirree. I'm telling you. They had to be Walling Slum. They had to be hams with Vogues. Star Wars and Vogues. Ain't nobody gonna be driving down the street in no Michelin tires. Of course, Michelin tires are better than Vogues, but being a dumb Negro, Vogues look the best. And after all, they cost the most. So you know how the Negro is. Anyway, let's skip up to now. Now we're into, we've been through several changes here, and now we easing into another, we used to call it a run, when you get your stuff rolling and it's all packed together. A run is like a year, 2 years, it could be 5, that's stretching out to, don't usually last that long, where you're just rolling. You got so much money coming in, it make your blood boil. I mean, you could feel your blood pumping. Now, a lot of people ain't been that rich before. Where you're so young and things are happening so fast that you could feel your blood pumping in your body. That's called being alive. I'm not saying it's bad. It seemed like at that time it was good. Okay, at that time it was very good. All right. So we're taking everything that we learned then, and now, we'll go into the program today. Number 1, write up counter anti-Zionist flyer. That means that's our contribution to future global harmony. That's us right here. So we've had a lot of flyers from the old days and different things. These flyers, these are just trials things, and the program we'll have this month will be a nice semi-trial balloon. Technically, next month, during Black History Month, we'll call this the first program, but that third program we'll have a program once a month, up to Ramadan. By the time Ramadan comes along, I want you to imagine now, by the time Ramadan comes along, we'll have 4 teams going out every Friday. And eventually we'll be going places during the week. Let's call it my team. We might go out 3 times a week. 2 times a week. 1, 2, 3, these programs, if we have, go out Friday. If we have this program on Sunday, okay, then we would have one doing between Tuesday and Friday. We would have some program. So that would be 3 activities that we have on the fundraiser. Fundraisers is very simple. We take our boxes, and for this month, we should have 3 teams. It should be 3 times 3. 3 people in the team, because we're not going to pass out DVDs this go around this month. We're going to do flyers. We'll make out a nice flyer, introductory flyer, and then that will explain who we are, what we're trying to do, and it'll cover a lot of the information that people will need, right? So I want you to imagine that we're going to go from Richmond, D.C. to up there in Baltimore. That this has been on the clock for 10 or 15 years. We've been probably talking about it. But this is the time to do it, okay? Therefore, we'll have an introductory flyer, the next introductory flyer. We'll have a standard flyer. We'll have a picture on it. We'll have the introduction, and we'll have explaining who we are and what we're trying to do, and soliciting their aid and their assistance. Okay, if you look around here, basically the flyer will explain what we've been doing over the last several years. It will explain generally where we've been, only in 1 or 2 lines, but where we are and where we want to go. That we're accepting the